A lot of people.
So as Sarah, yeah, sorry, as Sarah
Okay.
had said, I'm an academic coach in Northwest Arkansas. So those of you who don't know kind of the area of Rogers, Arkansas, it's just right next door to the home of Walmart. So that's kind of the best way to describe it because that's where we're at. I do serve K-6 teachers. Um, it's hard for me to multitask here, sorry.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Here we go. Um, And one of my focus this year has been reflection with my teachers when I am working with them. So you will want to have either the Canva presentation open and or the Padlet open. There's links throughout the Canva as we do this workshop to access the different pieces of the Padlet that will be interactive. So just one of my, like I was saying, one of my main focuses this year has been reflection. Last year, I was really focused on formative assessments and what we can do with that data and why it's so important. But then this year, I shifted it to the reflection process because although, yes, the formative assessments are really important and we want to see those data points and the insights, we also need to be reflective educators and we need to promote reflection in our students so that they are able to grow from the data that they have in front of them from their learning experience and their learning journey. And so that's why I kind of shifted my focus this year to reflection because ultimately it's about our action steps after. As Sarah also mentioned, I will be focusing on MirrorTalk and M2 specifically for the AI that is enhancing the reflective thinking and communication in our education students. So, for those of you who don't know, MirrorTalk provides just a dedicated focus space for students to reflect specifically on any targeted learning objectives. And what I really love is when you go in to create your reflections through MirrorTalk, um, it specifically lets you put either in writing or um, orally your instructions for your student learning objectives so that the prompts that the AI can create will specifically tie back to either your standard or your learning target that you have for your students. So I want to start with just kind of like an icebreaker activity, kind of an activate schema activity where we're going to click on this first link on how do you and answer this question. How do you currently encourage students to reflect on their learning? I saw several of you are also instructional coaches. This can be how you would suggest uh, reflection to the teachers that you are coaching if that is something that they are working towards. So let's go ahead and click on that. And it should take you to the Padlet. This is a discussion board. So those of you who are not familiar with Padlet, you will be able to answer this question by clicking the plus sign in the bottom right-hand corner, and then you can respond to the question. So again, the question is, how do you currently encourage your students to reflect on their learning?
Sarah, can you post the link to the slides? I completely missed it and my resources are not working.
It's, oh, resources are not showing for you?
For me, they're not. I don't know if
Is
that's just
anyone
me.
else having a problem with that? Yes, I was able to access them. Yep, 1 second. Now I'm having too many screens. Yep, I'm gonna post it to everyone. Oh, I didn't realize I had messages here. Okay, there's the Canva link. I hope everyone, seems like other people had. Is it showing nothing for you, Susan? Just curious.
I'm just getting an error message
Oh,
when I
okay.
get resources.
Seems like others are in there, so I'm assuming no one else has problems. Do you need the sandbox as well? You should be able to get it from in there. There's a link in there. Yeah.
Yes. If you have opened the presentation, then I have linked in
Mhm.
our activities as we go. Oh, that let other people in too. So yay. I'm seeing little bubbles pop up.
Oh, yay. Including a secretive kangaroo.
Oh, I think I'm pretty fond of the supportive llama. Okay, so as these are popping up, I'm seeing allowing students to talk. Looks like that is pretty popular, which I absolutely love. And that's what I love about M2 as well, because students are able to communicate their learning orally. Um, I'm seeing exit tickets, which is very popular. What went well? What was hard? Those are good questions. Class discussions again, so allowing them to talk and reflect about their learning. Journaling, yes. Turn and talk activities. Yes, secretive kangaroo. I hear you. Not as consistent with reflection practice. I am back in the classroom temporarily as I'm helping a situation. And I found that I have to be very um, specific and like it has to be one of my personal goals and in my lesson plans, or I also am not very consistent about it. So I hear you. Again, class discussions. Great. Okay, so we can go back to thank you for participating and kind of activating your background knowledge. Okay, can you guys still see my screen? I can't see you guys. Yes, okay, thumbs up.
Yes, we can see you.
Great. Okay. Okay, so as we're using the mirror, oops, sorry, y'all's faces are in the way. Okay, there they go. So using mirror in elementary. So yes, reflection should be discussion based or some kind of journaling. It can be private. It can be shared with other students. It can be shared with the teacher. Uh, for educators, the M2 it should say using M2 MirrorTalk in elementary. For educators, it helps align the student reflection specifically to the learning goals or the learning objectives, which I just absolutely love because I can take my standard that I'm working on and I can put it in right away at the very top. And then the AI is going to quickly generate prompts for me that are going to be based on that goal for my students. It also captures student quotes and key insights, which I'm going to share here in just a moment with you guys. It provides me with next steps to guide my instruction that's based on the student reflections and the how it was scored by AI. And then I can also track any trends that I'm seeing by certain students and their understanding towards their learning goals, but also how their mindset is. Are they in a growth mindset? Are they neutral? Are we struggling with the mindset? Things like that. For the students, it allows them a place to ask questions about what they're learning. It allows them to make those connections. I'm going to share a success story here in just a moment about a cross-curricular connection that a student recently made. It allows them to deepen that understanding, to take a moment when they're reflecting on the learning goal and the information that they need to process. It will allow them to also track their progress toward their goal to continue to grow in their reflections. They'll get to see the analytics and the feedback about their growth mindset. It also builds their communication skills, which is so important when we're looking at elementary, because this is that foundation piece as they're growing and learning to think about their learning, which I think sometimes is overlooked, or we just don't feel like we have enough time to give them that time to process and communicate their learning. But it is a very important piece of the educational journey. And then finally, they can look at immediate feedback from the AI tool M2 to continue their growth. Robert Marzano said, when students are given the opportunity to talk about what they are learning, they learn twice. I don't know about you guys, but I know when my students have the opportunity to talk to each other and to teach each other what they've learned, it's sometimes the best way that I can see that they are truly understanding the new concepts that they are learning. So student success stories. This is from this month. So on the left here, you see the feedback that I received from M2 on one of the reflections that I just gave the first graders. I'm in a first grade classroom right now. I am an academic coach, but we had a situation that I needed to step in. So I've been able to really bring M2 into the classroom and enjoy seeing my kids just light up and spark excitement when they are getting ready to share. And we say teach M2 about what they're learning. So this was a really exciting success. We were just learning about space patterns and specifically stars for this week's reflection. And the students got to also learn about maps. And this particular first grader, she was incredible. She got a reflection score of a 4, which we love to see. She made connections specifically between the constellations that we were learning with the Big Dipper and navigation. We were just learning about maps and directions, north, south, east, and west. And in her reflection, she was able to connect both her understanding of how stars have positions in the sky that are fixed, but in like a certain direction, and how that connects to being able to navigate to her way home. So the insight was, if you see a constellation like the Big Dipper, you'll know how to find your way back home. And M2 even pointed that out and said that she is making the complex connection between navigation and stars, which was exciting. These are first graders. I mean, they're 6 and 7-year-olds, and she's already able to connect her learning in the different subjects that she's doing in class with me. And that was super exciting. Some of the teacher feedback that I have received, students who struggle to write are able to show me what they learned through their oral responses to questions. The open-endedness of the questions allows students to share their connections more freely. I think sometimes it's easy to forget that open-ended questions can really help the students elaborate on what they're learning instead of tying them to a specific question that is that sometimes can put a parameter around what they can share about their learning. And then finally, my students are engaged and excited to share their learning with M2. So overcoming barriers, as we know, as educators, and we often hear this as academic coaches or instructional coaches as well, that time is not our friend. When am I supposed to have time to allow my students an extra few minutes to reflect? And what I absolutely love about M2 is it removes that barrier. Because the AI generates the prompts, sometimes real time, it can create one question that every student is going to get right away. And then it personalizes it in the moment to build on what the student is learning. So it can take less than 5 minutes, not only to create the prompts, but also for my students to reflect and share and speak to their learning. Writing can also be a challenge. And I know we see that in elementary even more than we do in the high school setting, as our students are just learning how to share their thoughts and in a structured manner and through written expression. So sometimes I even see my students, particularly if language is a barrier, they struggle sometimes with those written exit tickets or those journaling. And sometimes I can't see their reflection and their thought process because they're bogged down by the writing process and not necessarily that they didn't learn it. Sometimes it is that they're just struggling with the written expression. And then finally, their oral skills. Our littles are just learning to discuss and share their thoughts in a meaningful manner. I know when I first stepped into this first grade classroom, I was like, I'm not sure what they need because they're still struggling to just be able to ask questions to be able to share what they need. So if you'll take a moment to take this poll, this is our next engagement piece. What reflection challenges do you or your students face? If you'll click on that, it will let you do the poll. It's also in the Padlet. So if you click on it, you'll see what reflection challenges do you or your students face, and you will be able to click and then submit your vote in the bottom right. So it's this one here that says poll on the right. Ah, look at all of your little mouse and your names. So it should let you just click right in it. You'll click time, written expression, or speaking and listening skills, and then it will let you in the bottom right-hand corner click vote. So it looks like time, which is also why I had put it on the first one too. Looks like time is what we see as the factor that we struggle with in creating or having reflective time for our students. So I'll reopen that. So if anybody wants to continue to add their thoughts. So I feel like M2 meets the burden of overcoming these barriers, which is what I love about using M2 with my students. I also love encouraging it when I have teachers that are wanting a quick way to track their students' progress. So let's look at application. This is just a small, brief list of different applications that I have used or suggested with some of my elementary teachers here in our K6. We can use it as a formative assessment. I saw someone earlier mentioned exit tickets. This is a quick way too, because you can track the progress and see if they're meeting the learning targets. They can reflect on their creative decisions. We are an arts integration school, and this has been a fabulous way. I've used it with my students. I've had other teachers in the building as well, for the students to think about the creative process and why they made the creative decisions they did in the artwork that they are creating, whether that's a performance or a visual art piece, music, anything like that. Small group activities, they can get immediate feedback from M2, but it can also give feedback to me. They can record performances and presentations, and then you have the evidence log. It sends it to you as the teacher, which is really cool, but also the students can go back and look at it. So it's almost like a portfolio and a snapshot of the students' work. You can share links and videos that then the kids can reflect on, and it can be a planning space. We got started using Mirror because we were doing habitats in our summer school, and the science teacher and I collaborated and created the whiteboard space on M2 for the students, and they got to plan out their habitat for their creature based on its adaptations before they got to actually get the materials, the STEM materials to create the habitat after. And it was really exciting to see the students label their habitat and then be able to explain once they made the hands-on why they had those pieces, like water for an alligator, things like that. And then, of course, you can have a social emotional check-in with just a brief, how are you feeling today? Name your emotion, those kind of activities. So now for our next engagement piece, if you could please click again into the Padlet. I have 5 minutes listed here, but we are short on time, and I do want to respect everybody's time. So if you could go back to the Padlet again. There is on the second page, I'll just kind of monitor it. This second page, you can click it by clicking on the brainstorm ideas of uses by clicking on the card 2, or you can just go to the second card. You'll click this note button here on the right-hand side, and then whatever color you want. Once you click back into the whiteboard space, it will let you add your post note, your little note. And then it'll let you type in it to add your thoughts. So what are some other applications that you could see using this with your students, or that you could suggest to other teachers to use? Oh, I love that, Andrea, sharing how a student, um, how they participated, how their role went in a group project, summarizing your learning today. That's probably my favorite way. My students are getting really good at using the sentence stem. I learned because they're 6 and 7, so keeping it pretty basic, but using that for my little first graders has been really powerful. They're getting more comfortable with sharing their thoughts. Reflection at the end of a unit. You can reflect on school-based behaviors. I've not used it for that, but I can definitely see how it would be helpful. Again, with that social emotional learning here with our media specialist. And being able to make connections to real life scenarios. I think that would be really powerful. With math, it would be powerful with science, with social studies. Like my first grader had said when she was connecting the social studies navigation with the constellations and how someone can find direction. Yeah, these are great uses, guys. Someone's typing another one. social emotional learning. What would you do differently? I love that. I was sharing this with um, one of our theater teachers, and I she is recording her students, and then they will get in small groups and reflect together about what they need to do differently before they get to the performance. So that is a wonderful suggestion as well. You guys will be able to keep these ideas. So I'm going to move to our final piece here, the further learning. And I wanted to honor that UDL, that Universal Design for Learning, so that you can pick which learning activity is going to best benefit you. And so I have provided three different options here for you. You can read. I have shared Andrea is here in as one of our guests today. She has created this lovely Padlet of innovative ways to use MirrorTalk and M2, and she's always looking for more suggestions. So if you want to go in and look at even more application uses, you can absolutely do that right now. I've also shared Janelle is a member of the Swivl team, and she's created this MirrorTalk Getting Started step-by-step instruction guide. So if you don't yet have a MirrorTalk.ai account, or you just are still learning and playing with it, you can watch this. It's like a 7-minute video that kind of will walk you through the analytics. It will walk you through how to label and create prompts, how to create groups. And then finally, you can always try it. So you can sign up, or if you already have an account, you can log in at mirrortalk.ai. I would suggest creating a group and a reflection for your students, or you can complete a reflection yourself in the personal space. What I absolutely love about M2 is it's going to give you immediate feedback. It's going to give your students immediate feedback. So I'll start the timer, and I will let you take just a few minutes to decide which activity is going to best benefit your learning. All right, so we'll come back together. Hopefully you had a few minutes and were able to look through the different resources there. So you can contact me through Blue Sky or LinkedIn. I've also shared my email for free. Feel free to connect with me to learn more or to ask different questions. The Mirror Mentors are also available. They are always willing to help and answer questions that you might have. And then if you could take a moment to complete the survey, this will help me continue to grow. And then I will stop sharing my screen so that we can wrap up.
Thank you, Megan. A few people did jump in just a little while ago as well. So I hope I did make sure they knew where the resources were. So I hope you all were able to catch up a little bit. And if not, the recording for the whole session should be emailed to everybody and then also available on our website on the workshops page pretty much within the hour, I believe. And otherwise, you should be able to follow along and catch up with
Sarah,
everything that Megan talked about.
I'm sorry, Sarah.
Oh, that's okay.
It needs Google needs access to do the
For
survey.
the survey? Okay, go ahead. Let's oh yeah, everyone's
I just fixed it. Try again.
okay.
Let's see if
Awesome.
it works this time.
Thanks, Darcel. Sometimes you have to shout at me because I'm not looking at the chat. Just
Megan, it works
go right
now.
ahead and tell me.
Thank you,
while
Susan.
I'm talking.
Okay, so Susan says the survey works now.
Okay, good. Awesome. Okay, cool. Everyone has the resources too. Yeah. So what I was saying, if you did jump in late, a couple people did, you should be able to follow along and do the activities and look at everyone's answers in the Padlet. And the recording of everything Megan went over and talked about will be available shortly and should be emailed to you. If not, it will be on our website and on our YouTube. As that goes with all of the workshops that are upcoming as well. While you're filling out her ending survey, I did just want to point you to, first of all, can we get some snaps and claps for Megan for being our very first workshop? If you want to give her
I'll give myself
visual
some.
snaps, if you want to use your icon to send her some hearts and just appreciation for being our very first workshop. Thank you so much. And I would like to point, as you finish her survey, if you did click again on the resources tab while y'all were working with Megan today, I did add a few more resources that you could you can just open them and keep them and then look at them after after we close out of this workshop. But I did add for you a link to, it's the first time ever, everyone in this room, this is the first time I'm ever putting the link to our, until today, closed community space to an open group. So you're the first people outside of a very small group of like 30 that I've invited, and we've only had it for about a month. So I'm going to start inviting people who attend these workshops so you can come in and talk to other community members, and all the Mirror mentors are in there, and you can kind of see how we stay up to date with resources and talk to each other regularly as you want, and ask questions of one another. Megan is there as well. I'm sure she'll put this presentation in there. So there's so many ways to access not only resources, but conversation and connection with people that are doing this stuff regularly. So you can join our community. I also put two links to, number one is just to Swivl's M2 part of their website. So you can kind of just go, and there's a video on there. There's all sorts of things to really get more of a hands-on look, like first person look at what M2 can bring to your classroom. And if you are interested in demoing M2, if you haven't already done that, some people in here already are doing that or already have them in their school. But if you don't, and you would like to be a part of that experience and get one sent to your school for free for 2 to 4 weeks with guided practice with one of our product managers, then you can click that link that says sign up for a demo device. And when you fill that out, that'll be sent to our customer success team, and someone will get in touch with you about getting you a device. And then you'll have that for free to try all the stuff that Megan was talking about that can't just be done through your MirrorTalk account, all the cool new feedback things that we just released to make M2 really a co-teacher for you in your classroom. So all of those resources are there for you. And if anybody has any questions as you're leaving or heading out, just want to leave the floor open for a couple minutes. If you have questions for Megan or for me or for anybody in the room, now's your chance. Otherwise,
Or comment.
or
Any
comments.
comments about your main takeaways today?
Yeah.
I would love to hear that too.
I just want to say, Megan, you did a fabulous job. Absolutely fabulous.
Thank you,
Thank
Darcel.
you.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank